Hi there, welcome to Sunday Stitch. On this Sunday, we're going to learn how to knit. We're going to learn how to knit if you're a crocheter. So, the materials that I'm using and that I highly recommend you use is a thick yarn. This is a bulky weight, rough-ish acrylic. Rough because it'll keep it from sliding. I've got size 10 knitting needles in bamboo instead of metal. Again, because sliding off and gaining control is one of the biggest challenges when you're a beginning knitter. And then I'm going to use 2 crochet hooks. I'm going to use all of this. Keep in mind that this is a lesson designed for people who are pretty darn good at crochet and want to learn how to knit. So you're going to use some crochet hooks, at least in the beginning. In fact, we're going to start with a crochet hook. We're going to start with a slip knot, however you're used to making your slip knot around your hook, just like that. Now, I'm going to push this tail out of the way because I don't want it, and grab a knitting needle. I'm going to hold both tools in one hand, in my right hand. And it's important that the crochet hook is on the right side and the knitting needle is to the left, and that the working yarn starts behind the knitting needle. So just like that. With your left hand, working yarn in your left hand, take the yarn, loop it around both and to the back, and take the hook, and you're going to draw this loop through your slip knot loop. And there you go. You've cast it on one onto your knitting needle. And you just repeat that with the working yarn. Bring it up from behind the knitting needle over the front of both of them. Use the hook to draw the first loop through the second. This is called a crochet cast-on, and it is a real cast-on for knitters. Here's what it looks like on the bottom side. Here's what it looks like on the top. I'm going to start this over, but when you're done, when you have all of your stitches cast on, you take this loop that's on your hook. See how it stretches out? Place it on your needle and pull tight. Let's start over. I always like to do things more than once. And with a regular slip knot on the crochet hook, like so. Get your tail out of the way. That's an important step for me because I almost always end up grabbing the tail if I'm not careful. Put both tools in your right hand with the working yarn behind the knitting needle and bring it forward and over both. And then I grab it with my left hand so that I can move my hook with my right, and I pull my new loop through my old loop. If you're a beginner, try not to pull too tight. It's always an issue with beginners. They tend to stitch a little tight. So if you're having trouble getting this new loop through the old loop, it's probably because you pulled way too tight. Give yourself some room, stretch everything out, and it should go easy. Oop. Keep that up, but I always tell my students, if they're sitting across the table in front of me, is do this until you're comfortable with it. Make a bunch of stitches, get to your last one, pull this loop up and over and lay it on your needle, pull tight. Once it looks good and you like it, take it all off and do it again until you're comfortable with it. So that's part 1 of learning how to knit for crocheters. I hope you'll join me for part 2, which is the knit stitch.